Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of the Scottish Running Podcast. And got a very, very cool guest on today. So his name is Mr. Colin McCourt. So Colin was a GB international 1500 meter runner. He also dabbled in the 3000 as well. Colin went to European Championships, the Commonwealth Games, and he's got incredible times of 146 for 800 and 337 for 1500 meters. He took a bit of a break from the sport, and he kind of made headlines when he was he was in a bet with his friends. They bet he couldn't break 60 minutes for 5K after a bit of time out from the sport, and if he didn't break 16, then he would have to get their names tattooed. But Colin prevailed, and he proved them all wrong. But
Mm.
we're going to get on to that and much more about Colin's career in a wee second. But please welcome Mr. Colin McCourt. So, Colin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm not bad. Can't complain. Can't complain. The good weather's coming into Scotland now.
As long as it stops raining up here, we're fine, eh? But doesn't stop raining.
No, no. And that's one thing I missed out there. You moved up to Scotland a
I
number of years ago.
7 years ago. How old my oldest son? Yeah, like 7 years ago. Yeah.
Wow. And how's have you seen a big difference between England and Scottish weather?
Yeah. Well, I'm from originally from Bournemouth, so the sunny seaside. So, moving to Hamilton, where I live now, yeah, it's a drastic difference in climate, and um, I'm constantly sticking my trainers on the radiator.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? In Scotland, it's
Uh-huh.
constantly raining and constantly cold and
Yeah.
constantly mental battles going, oh, should I just go to the treadmill or go outside running? But
I used to have a treadmill, but I left it in the shed for too long and it broke.
oh, Jesus.
Like you weren't allowed to, well, not you're not allowed, but like when you put them in the shed, you need to sort of add some sort of moisture retention or something because sweating in the middle of the winter in a shed and then closing the door over just ruins the electric. So yeah, 500-600 pound treadmill just went up the dust. I broke the first off, I snapped the board actually. Like, I didn't realize this. In the middle of a treadmill is actually a wooden board, which I never
Oh,
realized before. Yeah. So like and that obviously got warped in the wet when it was moist in there, so the moisture wasn't getting off it, and then it like bent, and then all of a sudden one day it like cracked. So I kept running on it because I thought I was just an extra bounce. So I was just like bouncing along, and then like a week or so later, it just completely like cracked. And yeah, actually, you can buy like new boards and stuff, like reinforced MDF basically. But yeah, I annihilated it, and my missus made me throw it out in the end.
that just shows you how much power you're putting through the treadmill.
I know. I think it was more just yeah, it was just being fat at the time and running on a treadmill. It was like I think the max weight is like 90 kilograms, and I was like 100 at the time, and it was just like nah, like this
Wow.
is please get off me.
Wow. Because that's what we get onto, like the amount of weight you lost when you're doing that bet as well. Like that was insane. Like the transformation, like just that you had.
Yeah,
Like,
I've been getting like just recently. I think because I've started running like properly again, like recently. I say properly again, like I've ran not consistently, but like in between. But yeah, I'm getting quite a lot of memories from like this time 4 years ago, or whatever. And like I didn't actually look that healthy, but I had lost a lot of weight, if I'm honest.
yeah.
Compared to now, where I feel like I look a little bit more healthy. Like I think straight after a run, I look like I'm about to die. Like I'm really drawn in. My eyes are like just pea holes in the snow, and yeah, it just I look dreadful. But it seemed like the best time to record videos. So yeah, I didn't exactly flatter myself. I don't think.
But that's what they say though. It's when people say to you, "Oh, you're looking quite gaunt and not well." That's when you know, "Oh, I'm fit."
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Yeah, like I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, I was getting quite fit. I was probably in a lot fitter shape than I ended up running. I just hadn't raced for so long properly. I just didn't realize and really remember how to do it. Not obviously you remember how to do it, but like the pain and the process that you go through, I don't think I was quite there mentally, and hence why I still ran well, but I think I could have ran a lot faster if I'd have just been doing sessions with people and doing different bits. Like I just didn't really have any idea where I was at when I did it, to be honest.
Yeah, and that's kind of like you said. If you train with a group, you kind of know where to kind of gauge yourself and if they're in the same race as you, etc. Because you
Like I
into
was
great things.
the time, and I wasn't doing very well at them at all. But that's not quite the same as like actually like running with people. And then it's not, I didn't mean this in a horrible way, of like similar level or like who are better than you, where you can like, because I actually won a park run somehow. I don't know how. I mean, I know you're not allowed to say you won a park run because it's not a
Oh
race.
yeah,
But yeah, I won one in about 17 minutes and was absolutely buzzing. Like 80 kilograms and bloody winning a park run. I was absolutely like had the time of my life.
that's
But
good going.
you're not allowed
Like,
to say you've won a park run, I don't think.
no, I think it's all changed, isn't it? They've taken all
Yeah.
the all
You
this
can't-
the leaderboards away, haven't they?
Yeah, I think that's really silly. Because that was the only reason why I was doing it back then, because I thought I want to get on the leaderboard, but I didn't even get on the leaderboard, if I'm honest. The one I won must have been the slowest one in the country that day.
No, I mean, I thought so. I mean,
I,
that's a good time for like being 80 kilograms at the time and running 70 minutes.
I think what happens is as well, especially when you're like trying to like transition from like being an elite athlete, then being like fat. I shouldn't say it like that, but like then being out of shape, is your brain doesn't quite isn't quite in the same place as your body. If that makes
Mhm.
sense. So
Yeah.
your brain still like thinking, oh, do you know what? You can go and run X minute mile in, or you can go and do X 5K time. And then when you actually do it and you're sweating profusely and every bit of you is like aching, um, yeah, your brain just doesn't quite accept the fact that you're fatter or out of shape. Basically, it's just not happening. So there was quite a lot of fighting with my brain and me trying to do things that I actually physically couldn't do at the time. But yeah,
Was that in terms of like try to do sessions that are
yeah, just every like you try. I think the issue that I think a lot of elite people, well, not I don't mean it in that way, but like people who have like even like any sort of like athlete at any level, like club level or anything, especially when they if they step away from it and come back, their brain really struggles with starting over. I think, and like starting just going from basically just being like never ran before and trying to take it in as just going and saying like doing 10 minutes a week for the first week every day is much better than trying to remember that you could do 30 minutes without even breaking a sweat, or you could do an hour run and it wouldn't be that difficult. Because I remember like my first like 2 weeks I got up to like I went from like say 15 miles a week in my first week and I just jumped straight to like 30 40 miles and tried to do an hour. My calves, everything, my whole body just gave up in week 2 and was like, what are you doing? And it's because your brain just wants to you want to prove to yourself that, oh no, you can still do it. But then when you're bloody 90 kilograms or whatever I was, like so big, you like the amount of weight and stress you put on your joints and stuff, it's so like it has been quite detrimental to me going forward, because I never had any injuries in my entire career, and then as soon as I got fat and then started to lose weight, I ripped my calf, the same calf, like 3 times in a row. and
wow.
then and then the same one on the and then the same injury on the net on the right side out of nowhere. And then ever since then, it's just been a constant. Like I'll run for like a couple of weeks, a month or two, and then that same bit is just completely destroyed. Like some bit of fiber in my Achilles is just goes if I'm not careful. If I run too fast or I run like wait if I start double running, which I know is well stupid at my age now, it's like nearly 40, trying to double run, which I haven't done for a long time. But sometimes you just get bored and you think, oh, I'll go for a run. But yeah, your body just has so many more stresses as you get older, I think. And especially if you've gone from being fit to really out of shape and then trying to get fit again, your body's like, nah, like just have a pizza, mate. It's fine. Just have a beer.
Yeah, that's I mean, life's for living as well, and
Oh,
enjoy yourself. There's a guy in our running club who he's a really good friend of mine, and he says, well, his best running, he says from 37 years of age to 42, but he says like kind of after that, it's like try to recover from a session takes longer. Like
yeah,
all
yeah.
of a sudden, niggles start appearing. He's like, like honestly, getting older is shit.
Yeah. Like, I used to be able to do things when I was younger that were just I could just do for fun. Where now I actually have to like think about what I'm going to do with the kids afterwards, like what comes into play with like responsibilities and stuff, of actually being able to walk afterwards and go to the park and run after them and stuff, rather than smashing yourself for like 90 minutes or doing a session on the track and having no calves left. Are the days where you used to just be able to sit on the couch or just like potter about at your own speed. Now I have to look after 3 little humans. I need to be able to actually like chase them around because they're absolute fruit loops. So yeah, it makes a massive change to your life, I think.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. But let's start off from the beginning. So your running career, from what
Yeah.
I can see, I did a bit of research on you, Colin. I knew a bit about you before, just through like your PBs and stuff on Power of 10. But you were going as far back as 2001. You were English schools champion.
Yeah, for 3,000 at Exeter. Yeah, that was my first. I'd only actually started training properly, like, and that sounds awful to say that. I'd only actually started running. I only used to run twice a week before that year. So on a Tuesday and a Thursday, and my coach didn't really believe in you should train any more than that, which is a bit strange. So then I was like, nah, there's more to this than like I was getting beat off people like when I was like 15, 16. I was thinking, there's no way, like this is just terrible. Like I can't be doing this sport because I wanted to play football as well. So like I was an all right footballer, and I was like, I can't. I'm quite good at running, but this just doesn't make sense. Like I'm getting beat off people all the time. So I went and sought out. Actually, I was quite lucky. Actually, my training partner was like Louise Damon at the time,
Oh,
and
right.
she'd hooked up with Mick Woods at Aldershot, and then asked me if I wanted to go. I went. Went to the session in Aldershot from Bournemouth. Probably the best thing I've ever done in my life. There was literally like 500 kids there. Getting mentor at Aldershot, and yeah, I just got a bit of a bug, started training, and I went from training twice a week to training 6 times a week, and it was amazing. Yeah, like one rest day a week, dead simple training, just 30 minutes in the morning. It's 30 minutes a day or 40 minutes plus an hour at the weekends, and then a session every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And that was my bread and butter for like a year. And just doing that got me literally from running like I think around like 424 for some like the year before, and then around 354 for 1500 meters like the next year.
Wow.
Ran something like I can't remember. I think it was something like I was like 9 minute. I was like a 950 ish 3K runner, and then that year I think I ran like 920 9 minutes or something, maybe under 9 minutes. I can't remember. But I had a drastic improvement, like a massive, like just from literally doing 6 days a week. I went from like literally not very good, just an average, like below average county runner, winning like the odd county champs, but that was it. Like not getting to English schools, not being able, like not running the times, not being anywhere near running like a qualifying time, which that's what you used to have to do in the day. I don't know if you still have to do that now. And then in a year, yeah, I went from that to like winning English schools and being one of I think I was the fastest 1500 meter runner in the country that year as well. I can't remember, but I think I was. And yeah, from there I just built from there really. Like I had I let myself down a little bit because um I didn't quite knuckle down, I don't think, when I was younger as much as I like. You see like kids nowadays, like
Mhm.
you see 15, 17 and 18-year-olds like absolutely like knuckling down. I was still in the mentality of just messing about and playing around, messing around with my mates and doing things. I didn't quite take running. I say I didn't take it seriously. I was training like 6 times a week, but I wasn't like 100. You know what I mean? I wasn't like all like thresholds and tempos and stuff like that. I was literally just track session, grass session, and a
Mhm.
few runs, 30, 40 minute runs in between that. But yeah, I think if I'd a bit like if I'd have just I don't think, but I also don't think you could have trained how their kids train now with the shoe technology and stuff like that we had then. Like, I just don't think the shoes and the spikes, like, and people think, oh, no, you're just saying that, but like, you got to think like you're running in like mayflies and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're pieces of cardboard. It's just you basically about running barefoot, and then on track sessions and stuff, running in like what is it like Nike shifts and stuff like that. Like, your your feet and calves were a mess. Like I remember doing sessions and not really being able to walk afterwards. Like calves like rock solid. Next day aching the whole day. Doing a run absolutely in bits. Where now I put on like a pair of bloody bouncy shoes. I go out for a run. I come back. I got no problem, no knee pain, no calf problem, like nothing. I'm like I could literally go out and do it again an hour later. Um, the amount of like, and I know shoe technology is like amazing. And I'm not saying it's the reason why people are so much better because there's obviously nutrition and training and all that stuff, but it does make a massive difference, I think. And that's not me saying like I could have been a million times better. It just would have helped, I think, when we were younger, like that kind of foams and all that stuff. I think it's actually amazing now. especially when
Yeah,
you use like Jesus Christ.
yeah. Oh, it's wild. There's like a lot of people in my town say, "Oh, just wait till you get to your 50s, at your knees," and I'm like, well, maybe
Yeah,
not.
safe
It
now.
might be delayed. You
The
know?
only problem I have is with carbon is it messes up. I don't know, but I don't think you get like super users. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I'm not a super user. I don't think because I'm already a TOE runner anyway. So
Hmm.
it actually causes me more issues. The more I run in carbon fiber and anything that's plated, it causes me more of a problem with my calf. It puts me too high and gives me too much back. Where when I for the last month or two, I've ran with no carbon fiber, just ran in a pair of like Reebok shoes, and I felt the best I've ever felt ever. Like honestly, like felt really good. Like it's still got a super foam in it. Don't get me wrong. Like it's still basically like a boost or whatever, but it's got no plate in it and that. But it feels like 100 times better. And then on Sunday, I did actually run. That's a lie. I did actually run in the Adidas Pro Adios Freeze, or whatever they are. But they just felt funny. Like I was running, I felt good, I felt fine, but I don't know. I just felt a bit like not the shoe. The shoe was amazing. It just for me, it just feels weird under my foot.
Yeah. Yeah. The carbon, it's just, it just came out of nowhere. It was like
Yeah, it's
going for a
mad.
sub two project, and on Nike are developing these new shoes, and
And
the
then
oh, it's bang carbon. Now it just took over the world, all the running world.
everybody's on it. Like it is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. For me, it like I just don't think I could train all the time in it. Like I just couldn't. One, I can't afford it, and two, um, I just don't think it does me any favors. I think I run stronger and I feel better not wearing them all the time.
I was talking to I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Jamie Crow.
No.
No, he's a Scottish cross country champion, and then I stayed down in Greenock, and then
Uh-huh.
there's across the water there's Dunoon, but there was once the Dunoon 10K, and I said to him, I was like, "Why is your name on the results as being a winner?" He's like, "Yeah, like one of my friends was come up for the age of 30, and he wanted to break 30
Mhm.
10K on his 30th birthday year, but he
Oh,
wanted
yeah.
to do it. He wanted to do it in non-carbon shoes. So I think there's that kind of thing now. People have
Oh, yeah.
experienced carbon. Now people want to see if they can
Wanna-
get close to their carbon times in
Uh-huh.
non-carbon. So that
Yeah,
might be the next challenge.
maybe. Yeah. See how that goes.
Yeah. But do you remember, talk just on the subject of shoes, remember the Asics Piranhas?
Uh-huh.
You remember
No.
them shoes? No. Those are
Uh,
another shoe that was literally nothing to them, but they were
yeah.
92 grams.
No, I used to run it. What did I run? I ran in like Nike Kennedys for a long time. Um, no, it was always Adistar Rival Ds and long distance and added the Adistar LDs was what I ran in for ages. I thought they were the best bikes ever made. Like honestly, like until the first victory came around, then I did run in the Miler for a long time as well. Actually, like the Nike Miler for a long time. As soon as that victory come, there's no other spike that you needed to wear really. Like every other brand was just thingy. And then I never got to run in the Dragonflies and that, but the original Miler, like the paper thin one, that was an
Mm.
absolute. I don't know why it was so good, but it didn't half wreck your legs. That shoe.
Same with the mayflies as well. Those were
I used to love them. They were like 25 back in the day, and now they're like £150 a pair. But they were like for fashion basically. But yeah, 25 quid. Like I used to run in them all the time. That were the only flats I had really. Like the black ones, the orange ones. Great shoe, especially with 25 quid. I actually ran in like I used to have a pair of Asics like Tigers as well. Actually, I can't remember what the actual thing was called, but they were like white and yellow. I think I won like a mile race um, in Newcastle in them. But yeah, they were the only flats I ever had until I got sponsored and got older. But when I was younger, yeah, I didn't really get much stuff when I was a kid. When I was like a baby, Vivi, my mum used to just buy me like one pair of spikes for the year
yeah.
and trainers, and then I'd do like 600 miles in a pair of shoes.
which is which is unheard of nowadays.
Yeah, so when I think back, like I'd wear spikes for the whole summer, one pair until they were absolutely destroyed and had holes, and I'd be sewing them up and stuff. And I'd wear the same shoes for the entire summer, winter. I didn't change my shoes hardly ever, to be honest.
Yeah. and now it's like the market, the night market. They're kind of like, no, you need to do this, and it's another
And
300 quid you need to
every
spend.
300 miles, you're supposed to change your shoes or something.
Yeah, something like that. But I've had I can try and find them. The night Zoom. I don't know if you can see them, but nah, I don't know, showing. I'll post a picture. But
Uh-huh.
basically, I've did like 800 miles in these, and the sole was
Oh, really?
pretty much gone, but I'm
Uh-huh.
still getting use out of them. But
Yeah, I think your foot gets used to it after a while. You got to think like what we used to run in when like in the early like late 90s, early 2000s and all that. Like there's no like I used to run stuff into the ground, absolutely destroy stuff. And I don't know, like in this last few months that I've been running in just these Reeboks that I've been wearing, like honestly, like I'm I just I need a new pair in like next month, but only because I've ruined like I'm going through the sole so fast. But if the sole held up, I would just keep running in them.
yeah, you're quite right. It'll save you a lot of money as well.
Yeah,
So,
massively.
so following on from the English schools, so there was like no a few years you were competing, consistently and training consistently, and then there was the 2005 the Euro Under 23 Championships.
Yeah.
That's so, and then that was like a junior championship. But then fast forward into the year 2010, that was quite a big year for you because you ran in the Euro Team Champs, the European Championships, and the Commonwealth Games. So
Yeah.
how are those experiences?
Yeah, it was a good year. I think the biggest thing you can take from my career is I wasted quite a lot of my career, to be honest, like messing around. I never quite fulfilled my potential of what I should have ran and what I could have ended up doing. Um, in them years, I lived at St Mary's in like London, so it was like actually the year before that, 2009. Might have been 2008 or 2009. I lived actually, and I was coached by Liz McColgan up in Carnoustie for a while, only for like 9 months, I think it was. I did the European Team Champs 800 the year before. Was that 2008? I think that was 2009.
Yeah.
I did the 800, and I was coached by Liz then. Um, it just didn't work out for me up there. Like I loved being coached by her. It was just where it was, like in Dundee, just outside Dundee. Like the running, I didn't feel like the running was that great up there. The group was great. Liz was amazing, and like if it had been anywhere else in the country, I think I would have like quite happily stayed. It was just I was miles away from my home. I loved London at the time, and then in 2010 I moved back to London, got coached by Craig Winrow, and was with all my friends like Andrew Sargi, um, Ross Murray. Like that was my group. And then all of us would just like live together. We all lived in the same house together. Um, for a long period of 2010, actually, I shared a room with my best friend. I just slept on a bed next. We had two single beds, and we just slept on two single beds next to each other, like a married couple, for like a year. And in that year, yeah, it really went well for me. Like I should have ran a lot faster. I should have ran around 335, 334 that year. It's just when I ran my PB of 337, I'd raced 3 times in 6 days or 7 days or something stupid. So I'd raced like the team champs, and then I'd raced a race in, I don't know which way around this is, but I either raced in like Sweden on the Wednesday and then did Gateshead on the Sunday, or I did Gateshead on the Sunday and then raced in Sweden because I had to run 337, and I ran 337 twice in literally 3 days time, like in under 4 or 3 days it was, after I'd won the European Team Champs. But it's just unfortunate that I had to do that, because if I didn't have to race in, I think it was Solentuna or something I raced, if I didn't have to have raced in Solentuna, I could have just gone to the Gateshead Diamond League. I think I would have ran about 335 at
Mhm.
least. I was in such good shape that year, and like I never ran any faster than 337, so I can never say like, oh, like I'm a 335 runner, I should have done this. But I was in such good shape that year. Like I was probably the fastest and fittest I've ever been. I just didn't have the diet and stuff to compete at that level. Like I wasn't strict enough about what I ate. I wasn't strict enough around like my sleeping habits or anything like that, where like now I understand going back that I just needed to eat more protein and actually eat more sensible food than having a pizza and having a beer every other night. Like, it was just stupid. But I got away with it, but not to the level that I should have got to, if that makes sense. Like, I was disappointed with my final in the Europeans. Like, I finished seventh, I think, or something stupid. Everyone that had beat me, bar two people or three people, I'd beat at the European team champs anyway that year when I won the 1500. So, and that race was around the same time with a pretty much similar closing, like 50-51 last 400. I just wasn't and that was my first major final, and so it's learning and stuff, but I never did make anything else after that. Like, my career didn't really go anywhere after that. I think I went to the Commonwealth Games that season. Then I got really severely ill after that, like a bit of blood poisoning and stuff like that from training in Kenya. So
Wow.
that's why my career kind of like stalled a bit and never really took off, and why I never made like 2012, even though I was training really hard and pushing myself and stuff. I just didn't really recover after 2010 properly. Like, I done it. My whole diet and lifestyle just didn't constitute being a professional athlete, if that makes sense. Like, the way I thought I could live and get away with stuff wasn't conducive to being a professional athlete, basically. But it was a great year for me. Like, it was so good winning the team champs. Probably one of the easiest races I've ever had to run. I literally didn't do anything. I just jogged around, and then the last 200 meters they all tried to sprint, and I just casually strolled up the inside and won the race. Like, I didn't even really, and it sounds horrible to say, but I didn't really try that hard to win that race. I just was in the right place at the right time. And then making the European final was like, again, was like, and it sounds weird to say this, but it wasn't that difficult. It was more like I was in really good shape. I trained really well. I was in, like I said, like in really fast 1500 meter shape, and I never ran the time. So it was quite an easy route to the final. It just messed up the final. I think I was on the lead for like the first 800. I just couldn't change gear properly. They went really hard from 600 to 500 to go. I think Tom or Lancashire or someone took it out really hard for like 150 meters, and that just, I didn't cover it, and then you end up so far away and expelling so much energy, and everybody's good at sprinting at that level. So if you're not in the right place, you are screwed, and I ended up being on the wrong end of where I needed to be honest. If I'd have just been up where I was for the first 800, I think I would have at least finished in the top 5, maybe snuck a medal or something. Maybe not won the race, but I think I would have been, because Casido was absolutely unreal that year. I think, I could have been a lot higher up than where I finished if I'd have just raced sensibly. Just didn't quite do it. And then Commonwealth Games was horrendous. I'd had a stress fracture in my femur and went and didn't realise and was running with this pain in my leg. I never had a stress fracture, any problem really, and then had to go for a scan after the heat because I was literally last by about a minute. So and they thought I had like severe dehydration or like dengue fever or something, but actually I was just quite dehydrated, and my femur was about to snap. So that was.
So how did you get through that? How did you even keep running?
I, I know it sounds strange considering I just have this thing, and I do it all the time, where I can just run through quite a lot of like discomfort. Because
Mhm.
when I was young, because of the way I run with like the outside of my foot hitting the floor first.
Right.
So, and I land right on the top of the connection of the little toe to the basically to your bone, like that pad. So that hits the floor first. So when I was younger, and I was obviously wearing like the wrong shoes or like proper sprinting on the track, I'd get really serious like blisters up and inside that side of my foot on both feet. Sometimes I'd get away with it, but like 90% of the time after a hard track session or even like a really strong run, I'd end up with like not third degree burns, but like a burn and then a really deep rooted blister, like right on the ball of my, on the in between the bone basically and my thing. So I'd have to like either pop it or let it callus over basically. So yeah, like I just got used to it from a young age of having to run through like a lot of discomfort, and I don't really moan that much. I just get on with it. So like I think I was injured a few times in my career, but I never really did anything about it. I just carried on running and got away with it. It was just that time was just they made me go for a scan afterwards. And they were like, yeah, well, you've got a problem with your leg. You've got like a stress response, not a fracture, a stress response in your quad, in your femur. So you need to take a bit of time off. And I never really recovered after that. I think it was either in India or in a training camp in Kenya the next year. I ended up getting some sort of like bacterial like infection thing. Like Beth Potter had it a bit as well, like
Hmm.
from the water in Kenya. It's like a bug basically from the showers and that in Kenya, and it just absolutely destroys you. It basically, I can't describe what it is, but you're just tired all the time. At one point, I was like weeing blood and stuff for like periods of time. I had to go get tested in London and stuff to see if I had like cancer, basically, because that's one of the signs that you've got cancer. But it was mainly just due to being really, really like thin, like far too skinny, training way too hard to make the Olympics, and your kidneys smashing off your hip bone, basically. Um, and causing like ruptures, and then you like then expelling blood mixed with like a massive infection that I just couldn't shift, which was pure draining me. So I ran for like 2 years just on fumes, like never felt quick, never got stronger, just didn't really get anywhere, and tried my hardest to make 2012. Like Ross made it. We were doing the same sessions, doing the same workouts. We were doing everything, like we were pretty much the same. Like we weren't smashing each other in training. We were both like together and everything. And he obviously went on around 3:34 and made the Olympics. And I ended up running 3:50 or something stupid in that final year. And sat on the track in Manchester and was like, I'm done. Like, I can't carry on like this anymore. I think I was like 26, I think. God, who knows? Was I 26, 27? And I just had a really stupid, and I regret it now. I just sort of you sort of think, I've got nothing to show for being 27. Like, I'm not that, like, I know it sounds awful to say, like, I'm not amazing at running right now. Like, I'm not making Olympics and world championships. I'm not making amazing money from my sponsors or anything like that. I'm not got a house, which I know is a really stupid thing to put on a list of things that you should to constitute you doing something. I don't have a car, blah, blah, blah. And I just felt like, I don't know why I was obsessed with getting a real job and earning real money. And I just sat on the side of the track in Manchester when I knew I wasn't going to make the Olympics in a BMC race, and just said, I'm done. I'm just going to go get a job. And I think I went home, went back to London, watched the Olympics with the boys in London. Like Sergeant Murray went off to the Olympics, and then literally 2 days later, I just packed my stuff up and moved back to Bournemouth and got a job at Nationwide, which I still work at now. It's Nationwide Building Society, and then I've worked there for 10 years since. So yeah,
That's it. Wow. Wow. It's just well, it sounds like you say you didn't follow diet and sleep and all sorts of, but it sounds like you had quite a lot of bad luck as well with
yeah.
illnesses,
It's
injuries.
more it was more my own. It's not. I don't think it was bad luck. I think it's more decisions that you make at the time. So you have opportunities to do different things. Like I had opportunities to go and do like train in America, go and be coached by someone in America, move like do different things. I chose different. If I and everyone can say this, I know, but if like different paths I chose the easiest path. I wanted to stay around my mates. I wanted to stay going out drinking, which sounds awful. Every twice a week or once a week or whatever, every Sunday or whatever. And I felt like that life was conducive to me doing something. But actually, when I look back, I never gave myself the opportunity to be an elite athlete. I was just talented enough, which I know again sounds awful, to get away with it to a certain level. But I didn't ever push past that level, which now all the lads really do understand how to push through and move on to the next level, where me especially, didn't understand how to get to that next level because I was making really poor life choices and really bad decisions on I'd rather just go for a beer with my friends and train rather than get my head down and actually look at what I'm eating and what I'm putting in my body and what I'm doing recovery wise and different things, and like even looking into different methods of training and all that stuff, which they all do now. Yeah, I'm more a person of my own circumstance rather than like bad luck. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, no, definitely. But you're saying that, taking the easy go out for a beer and all that. Like, I think there's countless runners and athletes from different sports
Yeah,
there
yeah.
who've all done it. Like, oh, I really should go to my bed early and
Like
that.
yeah, like Ross was drinking all the way up until the Olympics. Like even in the semi-final, he was like, do you know what I mean? He was meant like he was out in Oceania and everything, having the time of his life, like twice a week. And it works for some people. And when you're young, you can get away with it. Obviously, it's worth sacrificing for the gains that you could get if you just didn't do that stuff, because it could be the difference between you winning an Olympic medal or making a final or running a really fast time. But it just depends on your attitude. And I guess I just had not a bad attitude, just the wrong mentality. I understand now I had the wrong mentality.
But it's like that though, that you could, help others learn from that as well. If you ever do get into, something like if you join a club and get into the coaching and stuff, it's a good lesson for other youngsters, etc.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I really need to. I've been here so long now. I haven't ever joined a club. I think I put it on Instagram a few times to join a club, but I've just never found the time, because they're always on like a Tuesday or a Thursday, and two, just got over my own anxiety of going and training with people. Do you know what I mean? Like you just get like an anxious thing in you where you say like, oh no, like don't like. But I am going to go join a running club and start doing sessions and like wherever it is or whoever it's with. Like I really need to like run with people and just like have some sort of social outlet, because at the moment I just run by myself, work from home and train, and that's pretty much it really.
But no, and join a running club as well. We get that group of people and get that camaraderie going and push each other on. I think
Yeah,
anyone would highly recommend to do that.
yeah.
It gives you, like you said, with your kids and that as well. It gives you a
Uh-huh.
wee bit of kind of respite from that.
Yeah,
A wee break mentally, and then come back to the family and that again.
uh-huh.
Absolutely. So that was like your elite career, but you made kind of headlines in the running world because obviously you took a big break from running,
Yeah,
and then your friends and was it like
yeah,
17 of your friends had to put a
yeah.
bet on like the bet that you couldn't break 60 minutes for 5K
I,
and
I- it, yeah. I basically, so when I finished running, I just went into like work banking basically, and that just involves a lot of drinking, a lot of food, and a lot of late nights basically. And I'd moved back to Bournemouth and I was living at home for a while. Then I met Rebecca and we moved in together. But it just got really easy of just us messing around. Like, you know what I mean? Going for a drink, because after work, everybody wants to go for a drink. We were going drinking like 2 or 3 times a week, which is perfect for me because I loved it. Eating just crap. I wasn't doing any exercise, because when I first met Rebecca and I first moved to Bournemouth, I was like going to train and I was going to like just get fit, and I was hitting the gym and I was in really good shape. So I mean, I actually had like a 6 pack or something for like the first time in my life, but that all went down the hill pretty quick. And then I think it was like 2, 3 years. I can't remember. It might have been less. I'd ended up going from like 72 of a body fat of like 5 to 10%, like an absolutely amazing, to just a massive fat whale, like about 100 kilograms, like 90 something. And then I think we just had Finn, my firstborn, and I was like just out of breath playing with him. I was like, this is ridiculous. I feel like an absolute like whale. What's the matter with me? So for some reason, I don't know why, I got Rebecca to take a picture of me. I was huge. I jokingly put it in the group chat and just said like what, like, I can't remember. I think I even used the Goonies thing, like do the truffle shuffle or something. And then I went for a run, which was horrendous, like 15 minutes of just like pure horrendous running. And then got back and was like, right, I'm going to do something about this. But by the time I'd got back, the boys had gone up in 15 minutes, had gone absolutely mental in the group chat, just like, right, we're not having this, blah, blah, blah. Like, you need to do this, this, and this. And I was like, nah, I'm not interested in that. And they were like, we bet you. And I was like, nah. First, I was just like, nah, like, I'm not interested or whatever. I'll just do it for myself. And then anyway, then they started just talking about like money and stuff. And then it ended up being like I have to get all of their names tattooed on me in Times New Roman if I couldn't break 16, or they all have to give me 100 quid. And I was like, do you know what? I might as well. It's a bit of fun, isn't it? And then I just like, for some reason, I don't know why, just wanted to be center of attention, I guess. Told the world that I was doing it, and people just quite liked it, like thought it was funny. And I ended up training like quite hard for like I had a year to do it, and I think I did it with like 4 months to spare. I think I did it in like the October or the September. Um, but I didn't do it very healthily, if I'm honest. Like I really lost weight way too fast and didn't really pay attention to like what I was eating and stuff. I just ate less, if that makes sense.
Oh, I
And
see.
trained not, I wouldn't say super hard because I couldn't do anything at the beginning. The first 4 months were literally like 20, 30-minute runs, starting off at like 10-minute runs, then getting to 20-minute runs. And then, like I think I said earlier, like the first week, the second week I did an hour and I couldn't walk for like 4 days or something after that. We
Mhm.
also moved from Bournemouth to Scotland to Hamilton in that time because my partner wanted to be with her family who are from Hamilton, and she wanted help and support with the baby from her parents, which I totally get. So we moved here, changed our lives, and moved up here, got a house and stuff. And and yeah, like it just started to get better, and then I had to work in the city in Glasgow, so I was traveling in on the train and stuff. And then I started running to and from work or like running home from work. So doing like it was like 9 miles. So I was doing like 70-minute run, 60-minute run, or whatever it is. No, it's about 70 minutes, isn't it? 70-minute run in the evening, doing sessions on my lunch at work, like down at Glasgow Green. And I hit track, but I only really I didn't do any. I knew I was in shape to run sub 16, but I never did anything with anyone. Like never did a session with anybody, never trained with anybody. Just went and did like I was doing stupid things like I'd do a mile tempo and then I'd run 5 by a K off 3 minutes. And if I could run them all in 3 minutes, I knew I could run basically that. And then a couple of days before I ran the sub 16, I think I ran like 15:38. I actually went on a treadmill and like maxed it out and basically ran like 15 minutes on the treadmill, which I know is not the same, but
Yeah.
ran like 15 minutes on the treadmill in like the gym in the center of Glasgow. People thought I was an absolute fruit loop, but because they don't see treadmills go that fast, especially not that fast for that long anyway. I know that sounds, but they're not used to that, and they do look at you like you're an absolute idiot. You're sweating, like pouring with sweat in the gym. But I had ran 15 minutes on the treadmill for 5K, so I was like, actually, if I can do that, I can definitely run sub 16. So I was pretty confident when I did do it. But the times leading up to it, I'd ran a few park runs, and one of the park runs I'd ran, I say like 19 minutes or something. But it's like just down at Strathclyde Park. So it's one of the best, fastest park runs in Scotland, I think, because it's just out and back. And if there's no wind, it's completely flat. The elevation's like 1 meter or something stupid. But on the way back, I've never had this before, but both my calves like cramped up, like completely just went solid,
Wow.
like completely just wouldn't move. And I I don't know how I did it, but I finished, and I literally couldn't really get back to the car. And then Rebecca brought me home. I got in the bath, and I spent all day from like whenever I'd finished, like was it like 10:30, 10 o'clock until like 5, trying to get my legs to work again because they just wouldn't move. Um, it was just a really strange, like they spasmed out and just didn't relax back down. I've never had it before. And I'd done a few park runs leading up to that, but every time I'd done the park run, I was like, right, today I'm easily going to do it because I can just do it. It's like not a big deal. But I was way off, way off, way off. And I think the closest I got was like 17 minutes, and everyone was like, you're never going to do this. And then I went to I think it's the series now, like the Fast 5K series of like
Yeah.
podium 5K. He asked me to go down, and I was like, yeah, cool, I'll come down. Went down, it was on a bicycle course, and it was so fast. And I just literally just sat in and just ran behind people. And I think I got to 3K, and one of my friends was there, and she called out what I'd gone through 3K. And I was like, oh, I've done this. Like, there's no way I'm not going to run sub 16 now. And yeah, and then I ended up running 15:30. But like I said earlier, I think if I'd have joined a group, done real sessions and done real tempos and like properly, like not just ran every day and done like the odd random session that I was doing, I think I would have ran maybe sub 15, like at that point, like maybe even like maybe better. Because I got down to about 75 kilograms, I think 72 in the end. And my race weight when I was like an elite was like 68, 70. So I wasn't that far off. I just looked really ill because I think when you get older as well, your skin around your face and stuff doesn't quite look the same as when you were like 25. So like my eyes would look really drawn and my face would look really like gaunt. And I think I was like a bit malnourished, because now I'm running like 40 miles a week and I look quite normal. Like I don't feel like I don't think I look like a skeleton, or I'm gonna like or I'm like in a bad way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I'd just, even then, I think if I'd just trained with people and done stuff, I think I could have done it, because I was doing tempo, like 10-minute tempos and 10 minutes and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like doing 2 mile tempo, sorry, in like 10 minutes. So I knew I was on track. I just worked backwards on what I needed to do myself. I knew what I needed to run per K to run sub 16. And then I just worked around that, really. I just worked on that, like what I needed to run for 400, what I needed to run for a K, what I needed to go through a mile. And once I'd figured that bit out, it wasn't that difficult, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was, don't get me wrong, but I mean, it wasn't difficult in my head to get myself to get round it if I worked backwards through it.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like, I think it's brilliant that not only like you ran the time, but I think it's amazing that like the weight you lost as well. Like some people would they concentrate on like a couple of years or 3 years trying to like, lose the weight you lost, but you lost like 20 kilograms and broke sub 16. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm naturally a fat person, which I know sounds terrible, but I am naturally like stocky and fat. So like if I just stop doing any form of sport, I just blow up. So if I just stopped running right now, my face would get round, my neck would get big, and then I just I've slimmed down everywhere since I've been running this last 2 months again. But my belly just won't give it in, just won't give it up. Like I just can't. Doesn't matter what I do, I just cannot get rid of like the whatever it is around my tummy. It's just really annoying. But yeah, no, I am naturally just a fat person, to be honest. But when I train, my body does go into like overdrive, and it does shift weight quite quickly, especially around my legs and my arms, and my face go really thin, like really quickly. So yeah, I am quite lucky that way, really. I know it will stop eventually, especially now I'm hitting 40 this year. Like I know I'll hit a brick wall where if I do let myself go again, which I'm hoping I don't, I just have like a recurrent alcoholic or something, like a fataholic or whatever it is. I just end up like I'll end up like not being able to shift it at all. So I need to just be careful and make sure that I stay doing something now.
That's where joining the running club comes into it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the main thing. But that's amazing. I think it's just a great story you've had. You know, like being from a junior, going through, then leaving the sport, then yeah, having that bet with your friends as well. I think it's amazing. I mean, but look at your PBs. I mean, I think it's just well, that was like, say 2012 time. But in the last 10 years or so, it's amazing how the 1500 meters,
Yeah,
not just in the world but in the UK, is just transformed because your PB is 3:37, which is incredible. It's outstanding time. But like the likes of Josh, Jake, and Neil Gourley, it's like the new normal is to run
yeah,
3:30.
it is amazing. They got so like them boys are just amazing. You can't take it away from them. Like they just got it nailed. Whatever they're doing, they do it really well. And it could be more pleasing to see like people, especially considering like every 1500-meter runner ever in Britain since Kerr and that have just been like constantly compared to them and what they've done. And now these lads have completely blown them out of the water across 8 and 15. And yeah, it's so impressive to see, especially because I knew I didn't know Josh very well, but obviously I knew Whiteman quite well from a junior and stuff. So and then the one that set them all off, like Chris O'Hare, like without him, like he's the we had nothing, like me, Badders and all that had literally nothing to do with it. It was all about Chris, to be honest. Like he's the gutsy one who went in there and said, I'm not having this anymore, and started like actually mixing it with people and actually like doing stuff that we wanted to do but never did. Badders to an extent was amazing. You can't take it away from Badders. He was absolutely awesome as well. But the one I think who actually led them all down this path was Chris. And like I knew him when he was younger, when I was younger and he was younger. And there was just something about him. Like he just had, I remember I was on a Scottish bus down to from thingy, and he said what he wanted to do and stuff. And obviously me being older, I was like, yeah, whatever, mate. Like, don't worry about it. And then we did the 1500 meters together. I think I beat him and was like, well, we'll see. Just being an ass. But he ended up like, he smashed me into the ground. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was amazing. And then he set all these guys up, and they're all obviously they're all Scottish, so can't take it away. You know what I mean? They're all amazing. And like Neil's amazing as well. Like I know Neil like Gooley quite well as well. He's like an amazing guy, and I wish like them nothing but the best. I think they're going to absolutely smash it again. And Josh is obviously Josh, isn't he? Like, everyone loves Josh, but it's just, he's mad, isn't he? But yeah, like, yeah, they're all quality. Like, you can't beat them. Like, I think it's such a good thing for kids as well, because what it shows like the young guys is that like it's not about Kenya and that no more. Because a lot of the stuff when I was younger it was just all about like Kenya and Ethiopia, and then whoever was doing the best drugs or whatever, which I know you're not supposed to say, but it was. Where now it's just like the lads are just training, and the shoes and everything just make them so much better. And it's a good thing. It's not a bad thing for the sport. And people got going on about like shoes have ruined the sport and all that. Like, it doesn't ruin it, does it really? Like, everyone's competing on the same level, and it's amazing to see like British guys, Scottish guys as well, absolutely tearing everybody up.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we had Neil Gourley on the podcast like almost about nearly a year ago. And like just the range of times these guys have got,
He's Neil's got something. Neil and Jake Whiteman just have like, Josh has pure strength, but them two have like raw speed.
Yeah.
Like them two on their own. When you watch them, they just like, they can do things. Like, obviously they ran 143 and stuff, stupid times for 800 meters. Like, they just have. Neil can finish. Neil has got such a good finish if he's in the right place, as well as his strength. Like, they're all you can say about all of them, they're all dangerous in their own way, and they've all got things. I like got a soft spot for Neil. Like, he's a lovely lad.
Yeah. Because like when we were talking to him in the podcast, like I didn't know this about him, but he had ran for 5,000 meters like 13:11. And I said to him, I was like, "Oh, Butchurch ran 13:06, and that's a Scottish record. So are you going to have a stab at that record?" He's like, not right now. I was like, but a 1,500 meter guy, it's like 13:11, and he's
He's a strong guy.
yeah. So I wonder if that will be on Neil's radar at some point.
He gets over this. I think he's starting to get over this injury, and then he'll be back for the summer, I think.
Yeah, because it was a shame because he was supposed to run in
Yeah,
the World Indoors in Glasgow, but he had injury, so it's a shame it happened. But it's interesting just now with the whole 1,500 meters. You know, you've got Jakob and Josh, and they're kind of having tit for tat with each other, and it's like Josh says one thing.
I think we've found out now, but we'll find out. I think if you're on him with 100 to go, and you're proper pressing him, I think you can go past him. I think that's what you found out. I know it's Whiteman and that are the only two that have really beaten him, but I do think that's the way to beat him. As long as you're pressing him with 200 to go, he just doesn't have this. He's not fast. I know this sounds awful. He is fast, but he's not naturally quick.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Whiteman can run like a sub 50 for 400. Do you know what I mean? He's ran like 142, 143 for 800. Like, Josh is an absolute tank if he is there with 200 to go. Like, you are not so strong. And I think if they're in the right position, I just think he is beatable in the last 100, to be honest, because he's just not. He's strong. He is super strong, and he is one of the best athletes in the world. Like, I know, and I'm saying that madly, but I do think if you press him with that 200 to go, especially now, he will just fold. It's just natural, because he'll think, I've been done like this before, and it will just naturally, like, psychologically, I'll just get over him.
Yeah, I think, like you said, now other people, it's not just Jake and Josh, other people will be cotton onto that fact now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I just think the momentum just now, just seems to be with like Josh and Jake, and especially Josh.
I know it sounds awful. They're just fast. They are just genuinely like under the short, like under in the shorter distances. All three of them are faster than like Jacob. Jacob will never run under 145. Never. No. Just doesn't have that leg turnover. Just doesn't have that speed. So, and if he does, then fair enough. He's proved me wrong. But he doesn't have that. He can run 5K in 12:50. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and that's a great strength, and it's amazing, but he just doesn't have the natural pace that they have.
Yeah,
which is why if they're there, I just don't see them getting beat.
No, definitely not. Especially if they've developed their endurance and their strength
Yeah.
to get to the last 150 whatever and then kick. It's
Uh-huh.
pretty much game over. But
No.
it'll be good to watch this Olympics anyway. That's the main race we'll be all focused on anyway.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah. So for yourself just now, so what's your plans in terms of running? You will first of all join a running club.
Yeah, I'm going to join the running club, but I've just taken it really like I think I've got into a stage in my life where I was taking it far too seriously for like what I was like even trying to achieve. Like I didn't know what I was trying to do. I had no real goals or anything, but I was just taking it far too seriously. Where now, just relaxing. I just run every day where when I can. I say every day, like 4 times, 5 times a week. I just I've not done any sessions or anything. I've just been like going out for a run. I'm doing all right. I'm like down to like 7 minute miling from like 8.5, 9 minute miling in like 2 months. So, and I've not done any sessions or anything. So I'm just having fun, like just enjoying it, using it more as like a mental break rather than like I must go do this kind of thing. It's more just like, oh, I want to go for a run. So I'm just going to go. And I'm just going to treat it like that for as long as I can. I'll join a running club just to meet people and talk to other people. But yeah, that's it really. Like I'm not really like got no goals or ambitions to do anything, just to run. And if I end up doing a 5K or 10K in the future, not right now, like in the next couple of months or a year, then I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's a good attitude to have towards it as well. Just that's the most important message. Just enjoy it. Don't see it
Yeah,
as a chore, like a lot
yeah,
of people do. Yeah, you speak to some people, they go, "What you up to tonight?" They go, "Oh, I need to go for a run." Like, not
yeah.
really. Like, I want to go for a run.
Quite like yeah. I got on that stage for a while, like where I need to go do this, I need to do this, and I wasn't doing it for any reason, if that makes sense. Like it was just to be slim, like just to not be fat, really, which is the only way I can say it. I'm just running for the sake of it. Well, now I'm just doing it for like my own like mental health issues, like just going for a run to clear my head or think something through and stuff, and then just putting on like a podcast or listening to the radio and just going for a run, and just enjoying it rather than stressing about like what minute mile and I'm running. Because I don't even like, I just put Strava on my phone, put it in my back pocket, and then go for a run. I don't even like Garmin it on my wrist or anything anymore. I just like go out and run. If it's an hour, it's an hour. If it's half an hour, it's half an hour. Just whatever I feel like doing.
So that'll be two things then. That'll be a running club and then get a Garmin.
Yeah, I just don't use it. I'm on the couch at the moment.
The good old Casios, yeah. I used to before my Garmin days, I had a Casio and it was so simple. Did just lap
Start
done.
and stop. Yeah,
It was great. But
use a
then you
I put Strava on my phone, just press start and then go for the run. Then once I finish, I just unthing it and see how long it was. But I don't look at any of the times really. I
yeah,
just know that I've got. Sorry, I'm yawning. I noticed I was up at
yeah,
6 with the. I noticed that I've just got a bit quicker, and you just click it and you're like, oh, actually, like 7 minute mile on average, that's all right. But I'm not that like if it was 9 minute mile, and I wouldn't care to be honest.
that's the way to do it though. Just get your eye off the watch. So
Yeah.
what we do, so before we finish up, we like to do like a wee kind of quick fire round, just some questions, just more things about yourself, if you're up for that, and then that'll be us. So a wee quick fire. So I'll just do. Pete usually doesn't. He does 10 questions, but I'll just do 5 questions because
All right.
he gets to 10, it gets really really long. So the first question is so based just normal. So what's your favorite food?
Pizza.
Pizza? Any particular pizza, like Domino's, etc.
It was like pepperoni passion from Domino's, but now there's a pizza shop just down the road, and it's called Pizza Daddy, and it's just the straight up baller. It's just a pepperoni pizza.
And what's your favorite drink? If it's like alcoholic or fizzy juice or
Well, I really like a Modelo. Like basically, it's just a posher version of um what is it? What is it? Corona. It's basically just a posher Corona. Comes in like a little stubby bottle with a bit of tinfoil around the top. But Pacifico is actually my favorite Mexican beer, but it's too expensive to buy. It's like a fiver for four, so it's pointless. Um, but if not, it's chocolate milk, to be honest, because I have that every night.
nice? Is it Yazoo or
Oh no, Marks. I'm not posh, but Marks and Spencer's £1.50 milk. Oh my god, you've never had anything like it. It's the best chocolate milk ever.
I'll need to try it out because
Oh, yeah,
I
one
love.
you get a liter of it. Oh, it's the best. Not the smoothie one, not the Belgian chocolate one, just their own chocolate milk. Amazing.
I'll need to try that. I'll need to invest in that then because
Yeah,
I do love a chocolate milk.
yeah. I was a massive Nesquik guy for a long time, but now I've moved to Marks and Spencer's milk, even though it's costing me £1.50 every 3 days.
Why not?
I
And
know.
so question three, who is your most favorite male athlete?
What as of now,
As of now or as of what
it
your
was Mike Johnson. Like I absolutely loved him. Like I thought it was just like I don't know why. I read his book and everything. I just thought he was like the absolute amazing, most amazing runner guy ever. So yeah.
who, is it still him? Yeah.
Uh yeah, even though he's saying some wild things about athletics, yeah, I still go for him, yeah. Even though he thinks he can turn the sport around and stuff. But yeah.
And question four, who is your favorite female athlete?
Um I'd say Laura Muir. I actually love her. I think she's amazing. No, I don't know why. Just something about someone that gives every single thing they've got every single time they run. It's just pretty amazing to me.
She's quite gutsy, to be fair.
Yeah, it's mad. Yeah, like she reminds me of Liz quite a lot. Actually, McColgan. They just not in the same like running style, but they just give every single time they run. They give every single thing that they've got, and I think that's so impressive because there's so many times I never did that, and to watch her do it every single time is like pretty impressive.
Yeah. And then final question. So, who's the most interesting person you've met like through running?
Um, it's going to sound mad, but actually, it's like Ross Murray, like one of my best friends, because he's absolute fruit loop. Like he'd hate me saying that, but he is mental, and I would never if it wasn't for running.
Oh, my really close friend Craig Ruddy.
Uh-huh.
He made the GB team, the cross country, a number of years ago, and he shared the room with Ross Money.
Uh-huh.
He was, and I remember he came back because me and Craig ran together all the time, and Craig was like, "That guy Ross Money, like he's just mental."
He
Like,
is he is mental, like absolutely.
that's amazing. But no, it's been amazing to speak to you and get your life story in athletics and running. And it's good to
Yeah.
hear you're going to get into the kind of running scene in Scotland by joining a club, etc. as well. So this has been a great chat, and I can't thank you enough for coming on, Colin.
Oh, no, thank you for having me.